Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this Thursday, May 2nd, 2013 worldwide edition. I am your host, Alex Jones. We're going to be live here for the next 3 hours, and riding shotgun with me there at Mission Control in Austin, Texas, will be Jakari Jackson. Now, I have a ton of news that obviously I'm going to be getting to here today. We're going to look at some of the dorm mates now are the new terror threat.
But I'll go ahead and start off with a few things we have coming up on our show today. This is out of Breitbart. Pentagon may court-martial soldiers who share Christian faith. Now, this is just days or weeks after we saw Lieutenant Colonel Jack Rich come out with an email to his subordinates saying the new terror threat are Christians, as well as many other groups, but he also mentioned people of Christian faith. And this article goes on to say the Pentagon has released a statement confirming that soldiers could be prosecuted for promoting their faith. And then the Pentagon issued a comment to the Jack Rich email, and it said that the Pentagon does not discriminate against any group based on faith. And then I had to ask the question, well, what have they been doing to Muslims since forever? And that's just one of the articles we have coming up. Next, we have police say liberal student activist threatened herself with rape in Facebook hoax to frame conservatives. And then we also have this one, lesbian who reported hate crime attack staged incident, Nebraska police say. And that's just some of the things we have coming up for you on the show today. I'm pretty sure Alex has many things he wants to mention as well. Let's take a look at a few more here. High school student faces 20 years for Obama Facebook threat. Now, this is after, you guys remember the last election cycle, we had all those threats to Mitt Romney. Regardless if you like Mitt Romney or not, I'm not a cheerleader for Mitt, but he had many threats from people on Twitter, Facebook, and other places saying, hey, I want to kill Mitt Romney. If Mitt Romney wins, I'm going to run him over, shoot him up. We saw that Michael Moore funded video where the old lady said she was going to punch him in the gonads, and all that was well and good. But this guy, a guy with a little too much time on his hands and middle fingers, I don't even know if we can show that, but this guy says he wants to kill people, and now he's facing 20 years. So that's how the system works. Let's go to this next one. Floridians encouraged to report neighbors who, quote, hate the government. Now, there's a difference between hating your government and being critical of it. We are very critical of it here at InfoWars, but people seem to equate that with hating your government and some type of violent extremist activity. Let's go to this one. IRS to spy on our shopping records, travel and social interactions. Now, Mrs. Catherine Albrecht, or should I say doctor, she's been warning about this for years. The frequent shopper cards, many other kinds of perks and benefits that you can get from giving people your special information, secret information. And now they're saying that they're going to spy on you. They just admit it, throw it in your face. Yes, this is what we're going to do. But, you know, you're a conspiracy theorist if you point out the data mining centers and all these other cookie things that they do to collect your information, Google, Bing, Yahoo, many other sources. So that's what they're going to do, and that's what they admit to doing. Now, last night on the InfoWars Nightly News, I had David Knight on, and this is something very important because we get a lot of comments about this referring to the Paul Revere contest. I just want everybody to know that the Paul Revere contest is over. We have not selected a winner. We'll probably do that around July 4th. So definitely be encouraged. If you did submit, just be aware it's going to take us a little bit to get through all those entries. And we'll hopefully have Alex Jones back on the other side. Jakari Jackson here, and I want to talk to you for a second about water. You know about ProPure, our flagship water purification system, but check out some of our portable water filter products at InfoWarsStore.com. The clearly filtered water pitcher. Also, for those of you on the go, we have the Athlete Edition filtered water bottle and the RAD Eliminator Pro filtered sports bottle that removes radiation. And keep in mind, we have replacement filters for all of these products. The ever popular grab and go bag favorite, the Life Straw, the Crystal Quest shower filter system, and the Aquapod kit, great for mass storage of water. And while you're at the InfoWars shop, pick up a copy of our latest book, 31 Days to Survival. You can find all this and more at the InfoWarsStore.com. And don't forget, it's your support that funds our operation. Sign up for our free newsletter at InfoWars.com/newsletter.
Ladies and gentlemen, Thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday Worldwide Edition. Again, I'm coming to you from the road, and Jakari Jackson is riding shotgun there at the InfoWars Center in Austin, Texas. We've got a ton of important news and information that we're going to be going over and covering in detail today. Remember this story from back in 2002? Since then, it's morphed quite a bit towards the Stasi state. Is your cable guy a spy? Was the question. And then it goes into the new TIPS program with the Citizen Corps. Isn't that nice, being part of the Citizen Corps? Of course, I've seen all these mainstream news articles saying there is no Citizen Corps, there is no FEMA Corps. I am reportedly making all of that up. And then we have other reports here coming out today that are up on Infowars.com, dealing with a sheriff in Florida saying if somebody says they hate the government, well, then just call us and we'll send some psychiatric forces over there to deal with them. And, of course, this is the new Soviet-style system in America, where you see a repeat of what we saw in Nazi Germany, Soviet Russia, and so many other authoritarian systems where outside of law, the psychiatric system basically comes in and takes over the society. And again, we've got Jakari Jackson there riding shotgun with us today, breaking a lot of this down. He's going to have some other news reports here for us. And I have the Master Sergeant David Schmecker joining us, coming up at the bottom of the next hour, arrested for walking around in rural areas outside Waco, Texas, with his rifle, with his son. And the cops said, we don't care what the law is, we're going to arrest you. So we're supposed to feel good when the government has guns everywhere and are wearing black uniforms and telling neighbors to spy on us, but you don't go outside with your gun, even in rural areas in Texas, or we'll take your gun and then charge you with resisting arrest, even though there's video that his son shot showing that that's not the case. Because why not? Again, here's the headline up on Infowars.com. It says, Floridians encouraged to report neighbors who hate the government. $1 million hotline characterizes dissent as extremist threat. A new $1 million program led by Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw aimed at violence prevention. How about preventing the globalists that run our country from murdering millions of people worldwide, is encouraging Floridians to report their neighbors for making hateful comments about the government, a chilling reminder of how dissent is being characterized as extremist threat. Bradshaw plans to use the extra $1 million, write some more tickets there, pal, pay the cops $100,000 apiece, to launch prevention intervention units. Don't run, we are your friends. This is not an assault. More Tokyo Rose stuff. Prevention intervention units featuring specially trained deputies, mental health professionals, and caseworkers. The teams will respond to citizen phone calls to a 24-hour hotline. Hey, East Germany had it. It's got to be good here. But when we do it, it's good, of course. Let's make some more excuses for it. Everything will be fine. With a knock on the door and a referral to the services, that's adult CPS, basically, to kidnap you. Indeed, it goes on, reports the Palm Beach Post. Bradshaw makes it clear that the kind of behavior which could prompt a visit from the authorities, not the servants, but the authorities, includes anti-government political statements that may be deemed a prelude to violent action. So it's not just a threat now, it's a prelude to it. We want people to call us if the guy down the street says he hates the government, comma, hates the mayor. See, now hating the government means this next statement, hates the mayor and he's going to shoot him. Well, obviously, if someone says we're going to shoot the mayor, you need to, if they're serious, call the police. But see, no. Now it's if you hate the government. I can't tell you how many people have been visited by the Secret Service if they just say they hate Obama or Obama's a piece of garbage. Secret Service shows up and demands people be fired. In fact, somebody's sitting there right now, their dad runs a car dealership, and the Secret Service came and said, your head mechanic said a little something that he didn't like Obama. We want him fired. And, of course, in America, people then follow their orders because they're so scared of the government. But we want people to call us if the guy down the street says he hates the government hates the mayor, and he's going to shoot him. Bradshaw said, what does it hurt to have somebody knock on a door and ask, hey, is everything all right? No, they're going to SWAT team you and maybe get another notch on their belt, because most of these SWAT team guys like to hunt humans. That's what's going to happen. A SWAT team's going to pull up with a robot, and they're going to hope that, that they get to come in and kill you. Or maybe burn your house down. Maybe they can have them dance around the house and say, we're going to burn it down on the radio. We're going to burn the mother effer down, and then burn it down on video. And the media will say, well, they didn't mean burn it down. They just said burn it down, burn that house down, burn that mother effer down. So that's the type of garbage that we're dealing with here. And again, this is the Soviet rollout with Homeland Security funding everywhere. I mean, you can type in your cable guy is spying on you, the phone repair person is spying on you. I mean, now whenever you've got any of these repair people in your office, unless you know them and they're patriots, you better believe they now are uppity secret agents of the New World Order. See all the CIA ads on TV, just recruiting people? And they're there just recruiting under AmeriCorps and SecureCorps and all these groups, just armies of clergy response team and InfraGard and just everyone there. This is the new economy. The new economy is going to be disappearing us into the labyrinths of the most imprisoned population in the world. You thought the drug war was a fraud? Now it's going to be the secret police war on liberty lovers, and it will actually create the war. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy to create that actual war. That is the program. That is the plan. That is what they're coming up with. And it goes on. The program will also include public service announcements. This is a quote. This is not us. This is from the news with a straight face. The public service announcements to encourage local citizens to report their neighbors, reports the newspaper. The program has sparked concern that the hotline could violate civil liberties. What, that conspiracy theory, the Ebony Rights? Or even be exploited to pursue personal vendettas. Oh, that never happens. With Bradshaw's acknowledgement that anyone in a messy divorce or in a dispute with a neighbor could abuse the hotline, and that would prompt frivolous complaints. I mean, they already take your guns just if you're in a divorce period. It's just done out of hand. Because everybody knows men are bad, but discriminating against men is no big deal. I mean, men are bad. We're evil. And there's enough bisphenol A in the plastics to make sure that doesn't happen. Your sperm count's down by 80+%. Just enjoy it. The caveat is all more chilling given the research of Florida State University's Robert Galletti into how Germans under Hitler, well, it's a conspiracy theory that was any authoritarianism, because authoritarianism doesn't exist, denounced their neighbors and friends in Nazi Germany, not because they genuinely believed them to be a security threat, but because they expected to selfishly benefit from doing so, both financially, socially, and psychologically, via a Pavlovian need to be rewarded by their masters for their obedience. And yes, that is the essence of tyrannies throughout history, is a groveling worship of government and the thrill. That's why when somebody calls the cops on their neighbor for putting a rifle in the back of their car, in Alabama even, the SWAT team comes. And then they go ahead and arrest him and take his guns and just say, well, we took him in for an evaluation, because they've got to teach the public the only power you have is through the God state. The only power you have is through worshiping the government. The only power you have, there is no individual. There is only the worship of black uniforms, the worship of black helicopters, the worship of open borders, the worship of checkpoints, the worship of CPS taking your kids, the worship of brain damage and autism off the charts, the worship of GMOs sterilizing rats fed to you and your family, the worship of scores of GMO crops that have their own pesticide in them that kills the bugs that eat it, but it's safe for you to eat. If you don't like it, you're a conspiracy theorist. That is all there is the total worship of the state. And the Stanford Research Institute studies where they found over 90% of people were ready to kill. They were ordered to by their superiors. Well, that is the priest of power. That is the new God. And you're a heretic, evil demon who will be rounded up and arrested if you don't worship the state. And you can all have power now if you just join the state. Join with the MAGA state. Join with it. Decide it's good. Love Big Brother. Go to the Chestnut Cafe and cry. Cry as Big Brother defeats another enemy. Cry as Big Brother destroys Assad with our ally Al-Qaeda, who's always been our friend and never been our enemy. And if you remember them saying Al-Qaeda was our enemy, you're a conspiracy theorist. And God knows you need to be reported, arrested, and tortured like Winston immediately. Because let me tell you, 1984 is not a dystopic novel. It is a dream, a vision of the future, of a utopia world of trampling and being trampled upon. That is what it is. And none of you individuals will ever survive. None of you will ever defeat it. The system will crush you. It will destroy you. It will tear you apart. It will stomp on your face forever because government delivers heaven. Government totally delivers Valhalla. And anyone that doesn't like their neighbors spying on them, and when people are in your office waddling around spying on you and asking what's this, what's that. When you go rent a car, they ask you 20 questions and put it in a Homeland Security database. When you go have a baby, they ask you 20 questions, hoping they could kidnap your child. All of it's for your own good. Injecting black men with syphilis and watching them die over 50 years was for the children. All of it's for the children. The UN injecting millions of people in Africa and Latin America and Asia with tetanus shots that make them have abortions at the beginning of the second trimester, miscarriages, and also tends to kill the women. It's a gift of the state. It's a loving sacrament of everything good. And the state loves you, and the state is your God, and the state is going to take care of you and your family forever. Worship them. All there is government. That's all there is in the universe, and you individuals will be trampled and run over forever in the beautiful religious orgy of death and destruction that is the all-state and pressing on the nerve of power. You understand, Winston? It's never gonna end. We'll be right back. Stay with us, you slave individuals. I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com. All right, folks, Alex Jones here, back live, ranting a little bit just because I'm so sick of the incremental expansion of authoritarianism and control freak systems where people build their lives through government and corporations that control the government instead of developing anything of use. And then they lecture us all day how we've got to worship them. It's a cult of government and insider corporate minions that I just refuse to bow down and worship. And then I look at this creepy sheriff, you know, just social worker, commissar, sheriff, Rick Bradshaw, and I look at this guy, and he's just sitting there, you know, telling us how great it is that, well, we're just going to drop by and, you know, talk to the person, see how they're doing, not off of a sworn affidavit, not off of someone going in and filling out a criminal complaint where if they're lying, they go to jail. No, just call the tip line and give us excuses to SWAT team whoever we want. And, of course, they do that. People constantly SWAT politicians, and they SWAT bureaucrats and people with their own SWAT teams by calling in fake reports on them. It's pretty ridiculous. But you know, this is a hungry police state, the biggest the world's ever seen. But it's here for our own good, of course. And it goes on as the professor points out. The program is also has disturbing throwbacks to how political dissidents were imprisoned in Soviet mental hospitals, where criticism of the state was deemed philosophical intoxication. Hey, but by the way, sounds like an idiocracy where he gets basically arrested because he knows how to talk. That's like a crime there in the idiocracy world. That reminds me of what we see happening in this country, where, again, we have a government that's still torturing. But again, it's okay when our government tortures. It's loving, it's caring, it's for a good cause. And it's okay that we have spies spying on everybody and filling out false reports constantly. It goes on. Under Stalin, who nowadays I think should be known as a good guy, I mean, our government's adopting his policies, dissidents were sent to infamous psychiatric prisons where they were isolated and brainwashed in order to have their political ideas discredited amongst the general public. Yeah. And now they just do that for trial. When they stage a mass shooting, they just electroshock you and drug you up. And it doesn't matter if you're openly under Air Force psychiatric control in a DARPA mind control program. It's just, oh, that's Alex. Or if I told you the Unabomber, like I told the reporter that's here from Esquire, that the Unabomber was in the MK Ultra program, he just looked at me like I was completely full of crap, excuse my French. Because, after all, the underwear bomber and the Unabomber and all these other guys, sure, they were protected and shepherded by the government. Sure, they had government connections, but that's no big deal. There he is over there. I tried to get this Esquire reporter on the show, and he said his editor wouldn't let him. And by the way, I didn't even know when I got this guy here to town to talk to us that he came to Austin. I forgot I wasn't going to be in Austin, so he was nice enough to fly up here to Arkansas, where I'm at, and he was like, so, I'm with the CIA, or my dad was. And I said, no. And he goes, well, I would have expected you to have known that, because I wrote a book about my dad who was involved in overthrowing governments, but he didn't like it. So he's been here trying to deprogram me, to where I will accept that Obama loves me and cares about me, and that the drone program is a lesser of evils. Is that right, John? No comment. Oh, boy. So we're going to come back with Jakari Jackson with a bunch of news he's got. We have several Leanne McAdoo reports that we're going to be going over here as well. And I am going to open the phones up so that you can also get involved on air with us. There's a lot of other news I haven't even gotten to yet today. 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. And we will get you up and on the air. Open lines for whoever wants to call in on whatever issue you wish to raise. So that is just some of the points that we're going to be going over today. And I was just told about this about an hour ago, and here's this article from Salon. It says, Alex Jones Conspiracy Inc. Conspiracy theories can be big business. Here's how the multi-platform entrepreneur makes his millions. And just a classic way to deceive their readers as usual, or maybe they're just ignorant. ProPure is introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. This is the Pro One by ProPure. You wanted it, you got it. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It cuts out the acid derivative of fluoride. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. This is a revolution against the tyrants. They love putting the toxic acid base of fluoride into your water. They love the fact that it's an adjuvant supercharging the trace Prozac in the water and the hormones and the other chemicals. By cutting out fluoride, you cut out the turbocharger in all the poison being artificially introduced into your body. This is what I use. It's a win-win. You get a high-quality product at the lowest price. You support the InfoWar. Get your ProPure with the new Pro One filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. know, this broadcast is not really gonzo most of the time, except when we get our rights or liberties violated. Like a few months ago when the police tried to say we couldn't hand out InfoWars magazines in Austin, Texas. That then, became part of the story. We became part of the story because the establishment was trying to violate our rights. But the fact that we've got, no exaggeration, 10, 15 news articles a day the last few months, most days demonizing us, is really an example of how the power structure is getting more and more desperate. And why are they doing that? Well, you could argue that they think Alex Jones is a good way to smear the liberty movement. Richard, do me a favor. Will you turn my headphones up over there? Thank you. Because after you made that adjustment, I can't even really hear audio. Thanks. I want to be able to hear Jakar when we go to him in a moment. Thank you. So what's going on here is Piers Morgan's ratings have dropped to an all-time low again. I'm going to go over some of those numbers. All of the mainstream cable is a shadow of what it just was 5 years ago. And it is only intensifying. It is only increasing. And so they look out there across the landscape for something to attack, something to go after. And I guess my head here in the whack-a-mole game is sticking up higher than some other people's. And so they're going after us because they're scared to death that people will actually research what we're covering. So they're not going after us predominantly because they think I'm a kook and a easy target. They're going, because if that was the case, they would have me on more radio programs, more of their TV programs. No. They are going after us because we are becoming more and more effective. And so it's important for listeners to realize that and to promote the broadcast and to tell their friends and family and to financially support us, because Salon and others are going with the classic tactic. You've got mainstream media funded by big money sponsors. I noticed they're funded by Wells Fargo here as I look at the Salon article. That's the big bank caught laundering $378 billion of drug money and running the narcotics aircraft a few years ago. That was in Associated Press and even Bloomberg. But here they are, because, see, I'm bad because I'm not laundering drug money. I'm bad because I sell high-quality vitamins and minerals and have firearm sponsors and have high-quality storable food so people can be self-sufficient in this inflationary system the globalists have created. They want us dependent. They want us on food stamps. No, we're going to be dependent on ourselves. So they write an article, Alex Jones Conspiracy, Inc. And it goes on to say, conspiracy theories can be big business. That means questioning known dying media, known liars, known corrupt power structure that told us there were WMDs in Iraq. Knowingly, the memos came out. It was on purpose. Conspiracy theories can be big business. That's right. If we build our own platform and become successful, that's bad. Here's how the multi-platform entrepreneur makes his millions. His millions. Now, it would be okay if I was making millions of dollars and keeping it. But did Salon call us to try to find out how much money we actually make? Well, here it is. It's good to be Alex Jones. Matt Drudge, the conservative web entrepreneur and news aggregator, provided prophetic when he predicted in 2013 would be the year of Alex Jones. The longtime conspiracy broadcaster is finally breaking into the mainstream consciousness after a buzzy interview with Piers Morgan and his Boston bombing conspiracy. And traffic to his websites has never been higher. The conspiracy business is booming. So is the CNN's business booming when the bombing happened? Or is Salon's booming when they sit there and talk about me all day so they make money, knowing I'm a hot topic? Oh, no. And make no mistake, it's a business. That's not to say Jones isn't a believer. There are easier ways to make money. But Jones has built a multi-platform new media empire in his Austin, Texas free speech systems and reaches millions of believers and promises and advertisers that it will direct lucrative buyers to you from a daily audience of active enthusiasts. Yeah, that's what the sales guys wrote. I ought to actually write my bio on the things on the website. And all told, Jones is very likely raking in millions. Yeah, about $7 million a year. That's right. And about 6+ of that goes into the operation. Some of the other stuff we put into funds to then build larger projects and things. That's what I'm into. Jones didn't invent the business model, but he may have perfected it. He comes from a long line of what historian Robert Goldberg calls conspiracy entrepreneurs. And then it goes on from there to basically say that anybody that challenges the government is just basically a profiteer person. So see, it's not good from nowhere with literally no money from my family. My dad did help me set up a computer program to take orders online and things like that in about 1996. And he did help me set up a 1-800 number because I wasn't good at that. So my dad did help me a little bit. But other than that, I 100% on my own built Infowars.com. And in the new America, that's not a good thing. If you're a defense contractor getting hundreds of millions of dollars a year, you know, to build drones and weapon systems to bomb villages, that's a good thing. USA, USA, USA. If you're a vaccine maker dumping deadly Gardasil shots known to kill people on the trials that doesn't even protect you from papillomavirus, their own insert states, on the public and having Rick Perry lie and say it's the law that you've got to take the shot so they could run the hoax and make millions of people take it, that's a good thing. If you're MSNBC that gets stimulus money to give Rachel Maddow raises, that's a good thing. If you're General Electric, you know, connected to the media with all its defense contracting and stuff, and so you can pay your news division even when it loses money to propagandize, that's a good thing. But when you as an individual in the free market of ideas from nowhere build your own media operation because you want to restore the republic, that is the nastiest, dirtiest thing in the entire whole wide world, ladies and gentlemen. And again, the reason we are under such unmitigated attack is because we are effective. We are effective. And when I ran into Piers Morgan's producer, well, I was told where he was going to be at by the gun range in Houston. So they said, come down here. As long as you're polite, you can come in the back room and confront him. As long as you're not rude. People say, well, why were you nice? Because I told the guy to be nice. And I went in and shook Piers Morgan's hand and said, why don't you have me on again? And he said, and this is on video, because we don't want to give you that much attention. But I thought if you kicked my butt, if it was this big victory, why wouldn't you then want to have me back on if it was such a rout? The truth is, it was an implosion in the hypnosis. It was an implosion in the trance people are in. So you see somebody go, look, knock it off. You want to confiscate our guns, and you know it. So stop sitting there and acting like you don't when you've been on record saying people shouldn't have guns, and when Bloomberg's been on record saying ban all the guns, and when Obama as a state senator said he didn't believe in the individual right to own guns, and the Attorney General, when he was Deputy Attorney General, said the same thing, and Sarah Brady has said the same thing. Stop sitting here talking to us like we're idiots, con man. Stop sitting here telling me you just want reasonable restrictions, because that's not what you want. You want to register to then confiscate. Like Mayors Against Gun Violence propagandist Mike Martinez in Austin, Texas, Mayor Pro Tem said. He said, hey, you see that sign out there saying don't ban our guns? We're not going to do that today. But what we are going to do now is the first step to making your sign a reality. So keep that sign, you're going to need it. And the whole crowd laughs. We know the plan. We know the best thing in society. We're going to get these guys incrementally while they arm to the teeth against us. And I want to go to a David Knight piece and then come back with Jakari Jackson to get his take on this and so much more. But you have heard me in recent times spend a lot more time about what's happening to Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Because the system is going to pick apart what we say. They're going to twist what we say. They're going to take it out of context. And they are going to try to demonize us. Just like when they said, Alex Jones says the government wants to make you gay with juice boxes for kids. The whole rant showed a bunch of news articles where the frogs are becoming sterile or having both sexual organs or hermaphrodites. The fish are, from the runoff of what's going on in our society. And I've got government documents like the White House Science Czar's own writings and EcoScience and others about doing that to us, and countless other scientists. So I know it's on purpose. I talked to chemists. They had hundreds of other plastics just as cheap they could have used that didn't have estrogen mimickers in it. And that's part of their program. They're now proposing putting lithium in the water. They're now proposing putting men on estrogens to make us not aggressive. This is engineering. And this is mainline systems pushing this. This is the conditioning. This is the program. They brag they use soap operas and cartoons in the third world and here domestically to go after the family and to remove the man as the head of the household and make the state the head of the household and the parents as babysitters. So we know all of this. We understand all of this. And then they just said it was an anti-gay rant, saying that everyone who's gay is because of chemicals. Doesn't he know about the Romans? Yes, I know about the Romans. It's not a judgment of gay people. It's not a judgment of fish. I'm not obsessed with fish being gay. The point is we're chemically being manipulated and confused from what we were naturally born to be, because in their own documents that we cover in Endgame 2.0, they break down how they plan to do this to break up the family. Just like Brave New World talked about making people sexless and making them go into fertility early. And this is what Bertrand Russell wrote about. Diet, injections, injunctions to turn us into addled sheep. And that's what I'm frustrated by, is that we are under massive scientific manipulation. I don't like being under social engineering. The social engineers admit they're doing it. So much of the media is paid government propaganda and foreign government propaganda, and it's the opposite of a free society. Whatever is the real popular driving force in culture should be, in the free market of ideas, the dominant system and the example, and that builds renaissance. That will take us to the stars, not what they're establishing. Now, here's David Knight in a 4-minute report breaking down the unprecedented propaganda dealing with the bullets. Yes, they bought billions of bullets, and yes, it's for us. Here it is.
Well, the media has gone into full damage control with this after Sarah Palin came out with it. You've got Politico, you've got Atlantic Wire, you've got Huffington Post. You've got everybody basically saying these are debunked conspiracy theories. And they're not debunked. We're not making this up. As a matter of fact, it was Politico that even linked Sarah Palin to Alex Jones, and so she joins Alex Jones and InfoWars and looking at this. I've got a graph here that basically shows how in the last 10 months the DHS has ramped this up. And Watson pulled these figures from FedBiz and from a couple of different sites here that are FedBid and Federal Business Opportunities. This one right here is actually a publication of the GSA. This is the main source for contractors to get information about what the federal government is buying. So this is public information. This is coming from the Fed's site. So there's no dispute that they're putting out bids to get these things. The question is, why are they buying so much ammunition? Well, the media has tried to explain that away with a couple of attempts. First, they came back and they said, well, last summer they said they started talking about the smallest purchases. They talked about 174,000 from Social Security Administration. They talked about 46,000 from the Weather Service, from NOAA. And they tried to explain it away and say, this is just for practice. This is for target practice. But we're not talking about a few 100,000. We're talking about hundreds of millions of purchases. And when the very first one of these came out at 200 million, people were saying, why are they buying so much ammunition? But they quickly doubled down on that and bought 450 more million just a couple of months after that. And then a couple of months after that, they got another 750 million. Then another month after that, they got another 200 million. I mean, they're just ramping up on this. When they're talking about it being for target practice and they're talking about saving money, hollow points are very expensive. You don't use those for target practice. So it's ludicrous from that standpoint. If you know anything about firearms, you know that they're not going to buy hollow points for firearms practice. But if you look back at the amount of ammunition that was being used at the peak of the Iraq War, that was 5.5 million rounds a month, okay? So you're still looking at the quantities that they bought. That would be about 24 to 30 years worth of ammunition if they're fighting a war the size of the Iraq War. I think they want to basically starve the marketplace of ammunition. Because if you've got guns and no ammunition, it's like having a car with no gas. Okay, it's pretty. And one thing that they can do is they can essentially suck all the oxygen out of the marketplace, suck all the ammunition out of the marketplace with these gigantic purchases. We found out just a couple of months ago, people going through and looking at the recycling documents coming out of Fort Drum in New York, found that they are not selling their once used brass, but they're spending extra money to turn it into brass scrap and selling it to the Chinese as scrap metal instead of selling it back into the United States market as once used brass, which would help to keep the price of ammunition down.
So there is that report from like a month ago dealing with it, and now there's even more purchases of the bullets. And remember, they told you that they weren't purchasing any bullets and we were liars. And they said, okay, we are getting them, but they're not for you. And hollow point bullets are for target practice, while you just see total training going on everywhere to take on the American people, setting up classic spy networks, you name it. And they've always got these ridiculous covers for why they're doing it. This is 21st century propaganda, where to the general mass, they'll have an effeminate police chief up there in a non-threatening way going, we just want to be your friend. We're here to be your friend. You know, we've come to your planet in peace. You know, here, just you know, just take these shots and give us your guns and give us your kids and do what we say. We want to make the world better for you. Golly gee, we promise. And, of course, I use the analogy of space aliens, body snatchers, you know, as a joke before the New York Times or somebody, you know, says I'm serious about that. But they might as well be aliens from a foreign planet. I mean, it's just a culture of people that buy in to being conned by this system. And the system is getting more and more and more and more out of control. And, you know, the biggest thing hurting us is the television. The mainline television, they're dumbing everybody down. A nation of spectators. The average adult watches something like 5 hours a day. The average young person, 8 hours of TV and video games. And it's just a nation of a world, more and more, of people that just can't differentiate reality from fiction. And so they can't even recognize classical flaming tyranny when it's stomping down the middle of the street towards them. Authoritarian control freaks throughout history have sought to make populations dependent. The United Nations openly has talked about using food as a weapon against the third world and the industrialized first world. State Department Memorandum 200, developed by Henry Kissinger, called for destroying the food capacity, not just of the United States, but every country in the world, so they could use food scarcity as a political weapon of control. Just a decade ago, less than 10 million Americans were on food stamps. 4 years ago, it was 25 million. It's now reached almost 50 million. Socialist health care is designed to destroy our health care system. The establishment wants you to be a bunch of cowardly, dumbed-down people who can't stand up for yourselves. That's why they're rushing to try to restrict citizens owning firearms. Because since the early 1990s, gun ownership has gone straight up, while violent crime has gone straight down by 49%. And globalist-controlled strongholds like Chicago and New York, where they've taken the citizens' guns, have the highest crime rates in the world. What am I getting at here? The system doesn't want you to be self-sufficient. That's why I promote the fact that you should go out, buy firearms, and go take lessons and learn how to use them. I want you to stand up for your birthright of liberty and freedom. During a serious meltdown, they're going to tell you, hey, you want food? Turn in your guns. And that's why we need to put the globalists in check. And then finally bring them to checkmate by being self-sufficient, by being prepared, by having a garden, by learning how to can your own foods, by having friends and family and community that will stand together. But at the heart of that is having quality, storable foods. And that's why I went out more than a decade ago and found the very best food company to be my sponsor, eFoods Direct. They're the company that I personally use for my emergency food storage preparation, whether it be for natural disasters or the tyranny that is intensifying. So give them a call, 800-409-5633. That's 800-409-5633. Or efoodsdirect.com/Alex to find the weekly and monthly specials. But they're always running the specials where you can get the free 6 meals and the eFoods Direct audio CD put together by the experts in storable foods to answer all your questions, the eFoods planning guide, the eFoods brochure, the eFoods catalog, plus 6 free meals, creamy potato soup, tortilla soup, and cheesy chicken rice, so you can sample the high-quality storable foods from eFoods Direct. They've got a bunch of other specials.
The 2-week food supply provides one adult with 81 servings of healthy, delicious, storable food for 14 days.
The 1-month food supply provides 192 servings. for 28 days.
And then there's the 1-month family food pack. It will change the way you look at the food in your pantry. Every time you eat one of these meals, you are eating healthy, delicious food and saving a lot of money.
The 3-month food supply, 576 servings of storable food for 91 days.
And the 1-year food supply will provide you with 2,304 servings of healthy, delicious, storable food for 1 full year.
Your meals are as delicious and nutritious tonight as they'll be in 25 years.
Bottom line, there's a bunch of specials at efoodsdirect.com/Alex. You can also call them at the toll-free number on your screen, and they can send you a catalog with all the specials detailed and tell you about the weekly and monthly specials that they're always running. efoodsdirect.com/Alex to find all the specials, or call the toll-free number. And so in closing, when you buy from efoodsdirect.com, you are supporting the radio broadcast, the nightly news, the magazine, the films, and everything we're doing. Because we're not like MSNBC or Media Matters that get government and corporate funding to bring down America and bring in tyranny. We are funded by our sponsors and you, the viewers and listeners that support them. Again, that's efoodsdirect.com/Alex or 800-409-5633. And when you're also visiting Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com, you can click on the banners to take you to the weekly and monthly specials. It's like the Hank Williams Jr. song, "A Country Boy Can Survive," because you can't starve us out and you can't make us run, because these boys were raised on shotguns. Well, there aren't really a lot of good old boys left anymore, are there? And those that are out there are demonized and are enemy number one by Homeland Security. And good old boys come in all shapes, colors, and sizes. They're people that aren't chumps, who understand that they're going to take care of their family and that nobody else is. They're people that understand that if somebody else is taking care of them, that makes them a slave. And that the government doesn't want you dependent because they want to build a great future for you. They want to get you dependent so they can social engineer us. So the answer is get self-sufficient, become men again, and tell the New World Order to go straight to hell. Alex Jones signing off for Infowars.com and eFoods Direct, our great sponsor. And what most people do when they go into a tyranny is they make excuses for it. They rationalize it because deep down they have mass Stockholm syndrome and are afraid of the system, so they make the decision to cozy up to it as a defense mechanism, believing it will protect them. And this will not protect you from this cold-blooded, disconnected corporate Borg that is taking over society. And the fact that we've gotten away from real American values is why we are now going to go into bondage. And they will just label bondage as a wonderful new thing, and will label liberty as a thought crime. And that is where we stand right now here in this constitutional republic. Some of the videos up on Infowars.com. Poll, overwhelming majority oppose California gun confiscation. New Current Memo article. MSNBC, guest who attacked Infowars exposed. And man, I got to tell you, it's like a 30-minute interview Rob Dude did with the guy that went up and got in Dan Badani's face, said, "How dare you ask questions? How dare you say the government may have been involved?" He then went on to say that we said that no one was even bombed at the bombing, when that's other people saying it's crisis actors, which they do have for drills and things, where they do these mass shooting drills. It's not us saying that. We've interviewed a professor that's saying he believes that's what's going on from Florida. And he just sat there with talking points attacking us. And maybe we'll air some of that in the third hour. It was so amazing. And then they put him on the news like he was a hero, saying, "You need to be shut up. You need to be shut up. You're mentally ill." Yeah, let's not ask the FBI, known for staging things over and over again, about drills they admittedly had that day. And then I said they'll probably end up being cased by the FBI and basically protected. And then now that looks like where this whole thing is going. But regardless of what's behind it, you're going to have your liberties attacked. Here it is. Suspects' friends charged in case. UMass students alleged to have lied and removed evidence. They reportedly went into their dorm and removed the firecracker evidence where they got the black powder. Oh, got to ban the fireworks now. Because somebody might blow somebody up with it. Got to ban cars now because somebody might run somebody over with a car. By the way, they're working on that, making it where the computer drives, and if you make a move that's not proper, the computer takes over. Skynet is in control for your safety. And And again, the big story up at Infowars.com, Floridians encourage to report neighbors who hate the government. IRS to spy on your shopping records, travel, and social interactions. Yeah, I mean, now the government just basically gets into your bank accounts, everything without warrants. But, I mean, who needs those? That's that fascist thing called the Bill of Rights. We need to get rid of that pronto. And don't worry, they are. And we need to be like Europe, which they're now moving to do, and then just take your bank accounts. Just take your money. It's a good thing to prop up the big mega banks. That's a good thing happening in Europe. Don't be extreme. IRS to spy on your shopping records. Isn't that nice? Fewer Americans willing to give up their liberty to fight terrorism in a new poll. Well, that just shows the disease of liberty is spreading. Those filthy Americans will break their will, though. We'll collectivize. And we will get into a lot of the other top stories that are unfolding. Of course, the war drums are beating even louder for love bombs, humanitarian peace bombs, peace prize bombs. Maybe they put like pink little roses on the bombs they drop on Syria, like they did Libya. It'll make it okay. And or maybe when Al-Qaeda cuts the Christians' heads off and throws them off the buildings, and our media won't cover it as our government injects Al-Qaeda in. Maybe if they like gave the kids a little chocolate bar before they blow their heads off, it'd make it all right. Because that's what Joseph Mengele would do. Maybe that made it okay. Give them a chocolate bar and sit there and just, with a Luger, shoot little kids in the head. But he was the state. He was the government. Maybe people, if they would have gone along and not fought Hitler, he would have made it better. I don't think that's the case. That's why I'm an extremist. I've studied history and know that 99% of the time, big governments create absolute nightmare hells. But see, that's why I'm the bad man. You can tell today I'm just being a little sarcastic here with the Esquire writer. I'm going to be honest. I'm a closet government worshiper. I mean, I love North Korea. I want to move there. Come on. Hey, John Richardson. Hey, from Esquire. Are you a fan of Kim Jong-un? You're not going to be on the show? I think he's a rock star. I think he's devastatingly powerful. Just look at Kim Jong-un seething with real vigorous power. Return the map. Return what you have stolen. Return the Constitution. Return the liberty. You're in great danger. All right, enough screwing around. Jakari Jackson, I'm going to take calls for 30 minutes and then go to you. I know you've got a big stack of news there. Tell me what's coming up today while you ride shotgun there.
Well, we have a few new articles here, Alex. We have Apple avoids potential $9 billion tax bill. Let's see, we already covered that one. A couple more here. Physical by smartphone becoming a real possibility. Now, back when I was in high school and I had to take a physical, you had to do the turn and cough. Not being crude, that's just what it was. And I'm not exactly sure how you're going to achieve such a thing with a smartphone and many other things. Now, I did mention this article a little bit earlier, and I want to go back to it if I can, Alex. High school student faces 20 years for Obama Facebook threat. I
think he should. I think he should be sent to prison for life.
You think they should throw him in Gitmo?
Well, that's what Gitmo's for.
Yeah, just for guys.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and get to your point. We're going to cover this more at the bottom of the hour.
Okay. I just want to read this quote. This is what he posted on his Facebook. F politics, F Obama, and F the government. A very eloquent young man right there that you can see on your screen. And
yeah, by the way, that's protected by free speech to say F the government, F Obama. I'll say it, F Obama. Not even that I use those terms for people usually. I have more eloquent lexicon. But yeah, I should have covered this. You're right. This is the top story, that he's now facing 20 years in jail for talking bad about Kim Jong-un. Yeah,
Kim Jong Obama. So that was just
Kim Jong Obama-un.
Oh, and Alex, I don't know if they told you we have the new magazine. This just came in. This is the one that has all the free bumper stickers in it. And I'll tell
you what, Jakari, come back. Let's get into the flipping off first.
Okay.
And then I'll go to the callers. And I tell you, if I'm in a nasty mood today, folks, I really am. I'm going to be honest with people. People ask why I get so mad on air. I am sick of this, man. This is freaking me out. This is freaking me out. My wife, part of her degree, because she went to school in France, was a semester in Holocaust history, the real thing. Like, she studied with the French underground and people like that, and she's always going, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. She studied and lived in Normandy, and she talked to the real French people that were in the resistance, as part of that, and studied it. And she's like, I know tyranny when I see it. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. That's something good for Esquire to know. And that's why this is really freaking me out. This guy faces 20 years in prison for saying F Obama. Well, you know what? I'm going to say it. F Obama to hell where he came from with his drones and his peace prize.